Every day you rise from your bed, you are presented with two choices: to drift or to direct, to live by chance or to live by design, to surrender to the current or to command the ship. And the truth, though it may sting, is this: your life today is not the result of one grand decision, but of countless small ones made daily, quietly, often without thought. Improvement does not come from sudden miracles. It comes from the slow, steady sharpening of the blade of your character. Napoleon Hill wrote that success requires no explanations, and failure permits no alibis. The difference lies in daily actions, repeated until they carve destiny itself. You cannot wish yourself into greatness. You cannot pray yourself into prosperity without action. You must improve daily, inch by inch, until the person staring back at you in the mirror no longer resembles the one who began. History whispers this lesson through the lives of every titan who rose from nothing. Thomas Edison was not a genius. Born with lightning in his veins, he was a man who spent thousands of daily hours failing forward. Henry Ford did not wake up one morning with an assembly line in his head. It was the product of relentless tinkering, refining, improving each day's work until efficiency itself bowed to his vision. Abraham Lincoln did not step into greatness fully formed. He grew through defeat after defeat, each day adding resilience to his spirit until the weight of a nation could rest on his shoulders. If you desire transformation, stop waiting for the extraordinary and master the ordinary. The extraordinary grows out of it like an oak from the soil. Wealth, health, wisdom, influence, these are not accidents. They are cultivated daily through decisions small enough to escape applause, yet powerful enough to shape eternity. Begin with your mind. Every thought is a seed, and the garden of your mind either feeds you or poisons you. The masses feed themselves on doubt, on envy, on fear. They wake up and pour negativity into their souls, like a man pouring acid into a well, and wonder why their life tastes bitter. The wealthy, the successful, the fulfilled, they feed their minds daily with clarity, with vision, with courage. They study, they read, they listen to voices that lift rather than voices that drag down. The mind, Napoleon Hill said, is the only thing you truly control. Control it daily, and you control your destiny. But thinking is not enough. Daily improvement requires movement. Discipline is the fireproof seal between thought and reality. Without it, your grandest ideas remain ghosts. The man who disciplines his morning disciplines his future. Rise early, not because it is fashionable, but because the dawn carries silence, and silence carries focus. When the rest of the world sleeps, you are building, you are sharpening, you are planting. Walt Disney, before the world knew his name, would sketch in cramped spaces, sleeping little, driven by a vision others mocked. Those early, unseen hours built an empire of joy. Discipline, repeated daily, gives birth to miracles that seem sudden to the outside world, but are, in truth, years in the making. Your body, too, demands daily improvement. It is the vessel of your will, the engine of your ambition. Neglect it, and your dreams wither under fatigue. Strengthen it, and your dreams have a fortress. The wealthy understand that energy is currency. Every push-up, every healthy meal, every hour of rest is not vanity, it is preparation. You cannot carry the weight of destiny on frail shoulders. Daily discipline of the body forges resilience in the soul. Gratitude must also be trained daily. The poor in spirit complain, curse their circumstances, and in doing so, they lock the gates of abundance. The rich in spirit give thanks, not because life is perfect, but because they understand gratitude transforms perception. Abraham Lincoln once said, "We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses." Gratitude shifts the lens. Practice it daily, and you magnetize opportunity instead of repelling it. Resilience is born from daily challenges willingly embraced. Do not flee discomfort, seek it. Each day, lean into something difficult. Each day, do one thing that stretches you. It may be a tough conversation, a new skill, a risk, a rejection. Each act, however small, adds armor to your spirit. By the time life hurls its true storms, you will not shatter. You will bend, and then you will rise. And let us not forget adaptability. The world is in constant motion. Entire industries rise and fall in the span of a decade. Fortunes are built and lost in the blink of an eye. The man who clings to yesterday dies with it. The man who improves daily, who updates his skills, who refines his methods, remains immortal in relevance. Edison did not stop inventing after the light bulb. Ford did not stop after the Model T. Jobs did not stop after the iPod. Each day they demanded of themselves, what can be made better? Ask yourself the same, relentlessly. The difference between stagnation and transformation lies in this daily question. What will I improve today? Not tomorrow. Not next year. Today. For if you cannot master today, tomorrow will master you. Asterisk character is the bedrock upon which every fortune is built, and it too demands daily refinement. Riches built on deceit crumble. Success without integrity corrodes the soul until the man who owns the world cannot even own himself. Napoleon Hill warned that the greatest bankruptcies are not financial but moral. Wealth without character is a house built on sand, destined to collapse in the first storm. Faith must be exercised daily. Faith is not blind belief. It is disciplined confidence in the unseen. It is the ability to act as though your vision is already reality, to step forward when evidence is scarce, to keep going when the world mocks you. The masses allow doubt to grow wild in their minds like weeds, choking out their potential. The wealthy, the builders, the leaders, they weed the garden of their thoughts each morning, replacing fear with faith. Faith is not something you have once. It is something you train daily, like a muscle. Every day you act in faith, it grows stronger. Courage, too, must be forged each day. Not in grand, cinematic gestures, but in small acts that add up. A courage to speak the truth when it would be easier to stay silent. The courage to make the call when rejection feels inevitable. The courage to risk failure rather than rot in mediocrity. Abraham Lincoln, during the darkest hours of the Civil War, faced a nation divided and countless critics at his throat. His courage was not loud. It was quiet, steady, unshakable, a daily choice to carry on when despair whispered. Surrender. Integrity is not a philosophy. It is a practice. Each day, your actions either strengthen or weaken it. When you promise and deliver, when you choose honesty over convenience, when you keep commitments even when difficult, you polish the armor of your integrity. And that armor becomes priceless. Men of wealth and power often fall not from lack of intelligence, but from cracks in integrity. But those who guard it daily create a reputation so strong it opens doors. Money cannot buy. Contribution must also become a daily rhythm. Too many believe giving is reserved for the wealthy, as though generosity begins only after abundance. This is false. Generosity creates abundance. Even in scarcity, you have something to give: time, encouragement, service, knowledge. Andrew Carnegie did not wait until his billions were made to think of service. He built it into his philosophy, stating that wealth's highest purpose is to elevate humanity. Daily acts of contribution, however small, remind you that your purpose is larger than yourself, and they align you with the very current of life itself. Do not underestimate the power of small improvements of character. A single act of faith repeated daily will make you fearless. A single act of courage repeated daily will make you unstoppable. A single act of integrity repeated daily will make you unshakable. A single act of contribution repeated daily will make you unforgettable. The poor in spirit think character is old-fashioned, irrelevant in a world of speed and competition. They think cutting corners will save them time, that deceit will earn them fortune, that selfishness will protect their own. But look through history. Every empire built on dishonor collapses. Every fortune built on exploitation dissolves. Every man who gains the world and loses his soul ends up poorer than the beggar with integrity intact. Improving your character daily is not glamorous. It does not trend. It does not sparkle with instant gratification. But it builds within you a reservoir of strength that compounds silently until the day comes when you face the great tests of life. And when that day comes, you will not be found wanting. Remember, money is attracted to character the way iron is pulled to a magnet. People trust the man of faith, follow the man of courage, respect the man of integrity, and reward the man of contribution. Improve these qualities daily, and opportunities will chase you. Neglect them, and even riches you stumble upon will flee. From you, the wealthy think differently not because they were born different, but because they built themselves differently, brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. And the mortar that holds those bricks together is character. So when you rise tomorrow, ask not only, what will I achieve? Ask also, what kind of man or woman am I becoming through what I achieve? For greatness is not measured by the size of your fortune, but by the weight of your character, and that weight is forged daily. Focus is the currency of kings. Every day, the world competes for your attention, bombarding you with noise, distraction, endless temptations designed to scatter your energy. And here lies a truth the masses never grasp. Your future is determined, not by the hours you have, but by the focus you command within them. Time is equal, but focus is rare. Napoleon Hill warned against the drifting mind, the man who wanders aimlessly, pulled by circumstance, never directing his thoughts toward a definite end. The drifter wastes days and wonders why years slip through his hands. The man of focus, however, compresses time itself. In 1 hour of concentrated effort, he accomplishes what the distracted cannot achieve in a week. This is why the wealthy rise above the masses, not because they have more hours in a day, but because they guard their focus with the ferocity of a lion. Thomas Edison worked in a laboratory where the days blurred into nights, immersed in experiments, so deeply that meals and rest were afterthoughts. His genius was not merely an invention, but inattention, an ability to hold his mind on one subject until it yielded. Henry Ford focused not on building luxury cars for the elite, but on the singular vision of affordable automobiles for all. Walt Disney focused his imagination not on what was, but on what could be. Until the world around him bent to his dream. To improve your life daily, you must master focus. Train your mind to block the trivial. Begin your mornings with intention, not distraction. Write your goals, repeat them, visualize them. Create environments that nurture clarity rather than confusion. For your environment shapes your focus, and your focus shapes your destiny. Environment is not neutral. It either fuels your growth or feeds your decay. The poor often dismiss this, believing they can rise while surrounded by negativity, laziness, or mediocrity. But your environment is like the soil to a seed. Even the strongest seed will fail to grow in poisoned ground. The wealthy understand this, which is why they curate their surroundings with precision. They design spaces that inspire creativity, fill their shelves with books that sharpen thought, and saturate their lives with influences that elevate rather than drain. Think of Andrew Carnegie. He filled his life with mentors, with thinkers, with men who sharpened his intellect. He sought out those who were greater than him, absorbing their wisdom until his own mind carried the strength of many. This is the power of environment. You are not only yourself, but also the echoes of the company you keep, the voices you listen to, the habits you witness daily. Association is perhaps the most underestimated force in daily improvement. Show me your circle, and I will show you your future. The masses spend their time with those who complain, who gossip, who envy, who expect little of themselves, and therefore expect little of you. But the wealthy deliberately seek the company of the ambitious, the disciplined, the courageous. They understand that energy is contagious, that mediocrity rubs off. But so does greatness. Napoleon Hill's principle of the Mastermind Alliance is rooted here. Two minds, aligned in harmony toward a definite purpose, generate a third mind, a force of power greater than the sum of both. Imagine, then, the power of surrounding yourself daily with men and women of vision, courage, and strength. Ideas spark, beliefs expand, momentum multiplies. Association is not just influence, it is destiny shared. The poor often fear outgrowing their circles, clinging to friendships that anchor them. The rich are not cruel, but they are decisive. They love, but they do not linger in environments that strangle their growth. They choose deliberately who sits at their table, who speaks into their ears, who shares their hours. And because of this, their daily improvements compound into legacies to rise daily. Protect your focus as you would guard treasure. Build environments that fertilize your growth. Choose associations that demand your best. For every day, whether you realize it or not, your focus, your environment, and your associations are writing the story of your future. Ask yourself tonight, who and what am I allowing into my sacred space of thought? Are they elevating me or eroding me? Are they sharpening me or dulling me? Improvement is not only about what you add to your life, but also about what you remove. Remove distraction, remove poison, remove mediocrity, and suddenly the air clears, the vision sharpens, the path reveals itself. Focus carves the diamond, environment polishes it, association multiplies its value. Improve these daily, and your life cannot help but rise. Ignore them, and no amount of talent will save you from decline. Action is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between dream and reality, between thought and fortune. Without it, all vision, all faith, all discipline dissolves into dust. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Action is the real measure of intelligence. For what use is an idea left to wither? What value has a plan never executed? Every day you fail to act, you are trading irreplaceable hours for nothingness." The wealthy think differently because they have trained themselves to act while the masses hesitate. The average man waits for the perfect timing, waits for certainty, waits for permission. And in his waiting, opportunity passes by like a ship in the night. The man of wealth knows that perfection never comes. He acts first, learns in motion, adapts on the path. Edison did not wait for flawless certainty. Before he experimented, he failed 10,000 times, each failure a step closer to success. Ford launched cars that broke down. Disney created films that flopped. Jobs released products that faltered. But they acted, and through action refined their craft until the world bowed to their persistence. Daily improvement demands daily action. Not grand gestures once in a lifetime, but consistent, relentless movement. A single step repeated daily will outrun 1,000 steps taken once. The poor dream of sudden leaps. The rich build with steady strides. They know momentum is a force of its own once created. It carries them forward with increasing speed. The man who takes one disciplined action each day finds, over years, he has crossed mountains while others still sit at the base, planning. Their climb. Action breeds clarity. The masses wait to act until they are clear, but clarity does not come before movement, it comes because of it. A sailor cannot see the entire ocean from shore, but the horizon reveals itself as he sails. So it is with your life. The answers, the connections, the opportunities appear only when you set your hands in motion. Consider Abraham Lincoln. He faced endless uncertainty in leading a nation divided by civil war. He did not wait for perfect answers. He acted with the best wisdom he had, corrected course when needed, and through persistence preserved the Union. History honors him not because he always knew the way, but because he always took steps forward. No matter the storm. Action also conquers fear. Fear thrives in idle minds. It multiplies in stillness, feeding on your inaction. But the moment you step into motion, fear shrinks, replaced by strength. The wealthy act not because they are fearless, but because they know fear is silenced by movement. Every time you act, you prove to yourself that you are greater than your hesitation. Daily action need not be glamorous. Writing one page, making one call, saving $1, reading 10 minutes, practicing one skill, these may appear small, but small daily actions compound into empires. The pyramids of Egypt, the cathedrals of Europe, the skyscrapers of New York each was built brick by brick, day by day, until the impossible stood tall before men's eyes. Your life is no different. Every action is a brick, every day an opportunity to build. The poor see only the gap between where they are and where they wish to be, and so they paralyze themselves. The rich see only the step before them, and they take it. This is the difference. The marathon is run one stride at a time. The mountain is climbed one foothold at a time. The fortune is built one decision at a time. You must ask yourself each morning, what action today will move me closer to my vision? Then do it. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. For wealth is never found in intention alone, but in execution. The graveyards are filled with men who intended, who planned, who dreamed, but never acted. The world remembers only those who turned dreams into deeds. Act daily, and the universe bends to you. Wait endlessly, and you bend to the universe. The wealthy know this truth, and they live it. That is why their lives improve not by chance, but by choice, not by luck, but by labor, not by wishing, but by doing. Resilience is the daily armor of the wealthy. No life escapes struggle. No dream unfolds without resistance. No great fortune is built without storms. The difference is not in the challenges faced, but in the response chosen. We're the average. Man curses adversity. The wealthy embrace it as their tutor, their refiner, their greatest ally. Napoleon Hill declared that within every adversity lies the seed of equal or greater benefit. But that seed is invisible to the faint-hearted. The man who improves daily knows that every setback carries a lesson, every failure conceals a gift, every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Resilience is the ability to seek that seed each day, to water it with faith and action until the benefit blooms. History confirms this. Thomas Edison's laboratory burned to the ground in 1914, destroying years of work. Most men would have collapsed under despair. Edison, however, stood before the flames and declared, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." Within weeks, he was back at work, creating again. His resilience turned catastrophe into rebirth. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy multiple times before his vision of affordable automobiles became reality. Each financial collapse could have ended him. But Ford viewed every loss not as an end, but as a beginning, a chance to refine his methods, to adjust his systems, to sharpen his purpose. And through resilience, he forged an industry that reshaped civilization. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. He faced bankruptcy, rejection, and ridicule before building an empire of wonder. But his resilience refused to accept the verdict of failure. He chose daily to rise, to believe, to keep moving toward the vision no one else could see. Resilience is not born in grand victories. It is built in daily choices. Every time you face difficulty, you have a decision: bend or break, surrender or stand. The wealthy train themselves to stand, to bend without snapping, to absorb the blows of life, and turn them into fuel. Resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the transformation of pain into power. The poor see adversity as punishment. The rich see it as preparation. The poor ask, "Why me?" The rich ask, "What can this teach me?" The poor retreat into comfort. The rich advance into challenge. This is why wealth accumulates where resilience lives. Daily resilience means refusing to let small failures poison your spirit. It means answering setbacks with persistence, delays with patience, rejection with renewed effort. Each day you rise. After falling, you are stronger. Each day you endure difficulty without surrender. Your will hardens. And over years, that hardened will becomes unbreakable, and with it, fortune follows. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won, endured personal tragedies that would have shattered most men, and yet rose to the highest office in America, preserving a nation. His greatness was not in talent alone, but in resilience, his refusal to be defined by defeat. So ask yourself each evening, did I bend today, or did I break? Did I retreat from resistance, or did I use it to rise? For wealth, success, legacy, they are not found in a life without storms, but in mastering the storms that come. The wealthy do not wait for easy days. They build themselves for hard ones. They welcome the weight of adversity, knowing it is resistance that strengthens muscle, pressure that forms diamonds, fire that purifies gold. Every day you choose resilience, you are not just surviving, you are forging greatness. Learning is the daily bread of the wealthy. While the masses feed their minds with entertainment, distraction, and noise, those who rise deliberately nourish themselves with wisdom, with ideas, with knowledge that compounds like interest. Napoleon Hill himself devoted 2 decades of his life interviewing the greatest minds of his age. Carnegie, Edison, Ford, Rockefeller, not because he was born with their knowledge, but because he chose to learn from them. Every day presents a choice: to stagnate in ignorance or to advance in understanding. The poor often believe learning ends with school. The wealthy know it begins there. Carnegie built libraries across America, not for the elite, but for the laborer who hungered to grow beyond his circumstances. He understood that access to knowledge transforms men into leaders, and leaders into legends. Henry Ford was once mocked by a newspaper for being uneducated, called an ignorant pacifist. In court, his accusers questioned him on history and politics to humiliate him. Ford replied, "I do not carry such facts in my head. I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require within a moment's notice." His brilliance was not in storing facts, but in understanding how to access, apply, and direct knowledge. He embodied Napoleon Hill's principle of organized knowledge, the ability to use learning as a weapon, not a trophy. Walt Disney never stopped studying storytelling, animation, business, and human psychology. He absorbed lessons from every failure, every attempt, every mentor. His empire was not merely built on imagination, but on continuous learning applied with discipline. Daily improvement requires daily study. Not once a year, not when convenient, but daily. 10 minutes of reading. A single chapter, a single page. A podcast, a biography, a conversation with someone wiser. Every drop compounds. The mind, like the body, strengthens with daily exercise. Ignore it, and it withers. Train it, and it expands beyond measure. The poor spend hours gossiping, scrolling, drowning in triviality. The rich devote time to feeding their minds with substance. Books are mentors in print, teachers who never tire, guides who never rest. Each page can compress decades of another man's struggle into moments of your understanding. Why stumble blindly when wisdom lies waiting, bound in ink? Abraham Lincoln, born in a log cabin with little formal schooling, carried books everywhere, reading by firelight late into the night. That self-education sharpened his mind into one of the greatest instruments of leadership history has ever known. He did not wait for a university to shape him. He shaped himself with hunger for knowledge. Daily. Learning also requires humility. The moment you believe you know enough, growth ceases. The wealthy never outgrow the role of the student. They seek mentors, coaches, advisors. They question, they listen, they remain teachable. Their egos do not block wisdom. Their curiosity invites it. Knowledge without action is useless, but action without knowledge is reckless. The two must dance together. You learn, you apply. You fail, you adjust, you learn again. Each day you repeat this cycle, refining both thought and action, until mastery emerges. Ask yourself before sleep, what did I learn today that will make tomorrow better? If you cannot answer, you have wasted a day. Improvement demands that your mind be sharper tonight than it was this morning. The wealthy accumulate wealth because they first accumulate wisdom. The treasure in their minds produces the treasure in their hands. Learning is the seed, action the soil, resilience the rain, focus the sunlight. Together, they yield a harvest of greatness. But neglect learning, and all else weakens.